Have you ever noticed how some people seem to have supernatural control over their desires while others live completely enslaved by them? Think with me for a second. Marcus Aurelius governed the greatest empire in history while daily practicing techniques to eliminate unnecessary desires. Seneca accumulated unimaginable wealth but developed methods to not be controlled by it. These men discovered something that 92% of people will never understand. There's a brutal difference between wanting something and needing something, and today you'll discover the 7 secret ways that ancient sages used to completely kill their desires. Between you and me, what I'm going to show you today isn't abstract philosophical theory. These are practical techniques tested by emperors, philosophers, and leaders who needed absolute control over their minds to govern empires and make decisions affecting millions of lives. While ordinary people waste energy fighting temptations, these masters developed a system that simply eliminates internal conflict at its root. The secret is they didn't try to resist desires. They killed them completely using 7 fundamental pillars that I'll reveal to you in the next few minutes. Get ready because what you'll learn today can completely change your relationship with everything you think you want in life. But before we dive into the techniques, I need to show you why most people fail miserably when trying to control their desires. The problem isn't lack of willpower as everyone thinks. In fact, willpower is a dangerous lie that keeps you trapped in infinite cycles of temptation and guilt. Have you ever tried to diet and after a few days found yourself devouring exactly what you promised to avoid? Have you decided to stop spending money on unnecessary things and a week later had your card in hand buying something you didn't even need? Have you promised yourself you'd stop wasting time on social media and the next day spent 3 hours scrolling without even noticing? This happens because you're fighting the symptom instead of attacking the root cause. It's like trying to put out a fire by throwing water on the flames while someone keeps pouring gasoline at the base of the fire. You might manage to control it temporarily, but the fire always comes back stronger. Ancient sages understood something fundamental about human nature. They realized there are 3 main traps that keep people enslaved by their desires. The first trap is believing that resistance is enough. When you resist a desire, you're acknowledging it has power over you. It's like a tug of war where you're constantly spending energy not to be pulled. The sages discovered it's much more efficient to simply let go of the rope. The second trap is confusing elimination with repression. Repressing a desire is pushing it under the rug hoping it will disappear. Eliminating a desire is understanding its illusory nature until it completely loses the power to affect you. It's the difference between locking a wild animal in a cage and completely domesticating it. The third trap is trying to change everything at once. Ordinary people make huge lists of desires they want to eliminate and try to attack them all simultaneously. The sages knew that real transformation happens through small, consistent changes that accumulate over time like water drops that eventually fill an ocean. Now that you understand why traditional approaches fail, let me introduce you to the 4 fundamental pillars that sages use to eliminate desires at their root. These aren't theoretical concepts. They're practical tools you can start using today to completely transform your relationship with everything you think you want. The first pillar is what Marcus Aurelius called Contemplation of Impermanence. He wrote in his Meditations that everything we desire is like smoke that dissipates in the wind. The technique consists of mentally visualizing the object of your desire deteriorating over time. That outfit you want so much will be out of fashion in 2 years. That dream car will be scratched and outdated in 5 years. That person you idealize will age and change like all of us. But it's not just about visualizing physical deterioration. It's about understanding that the satisfaction you imagine obtaining is temporary and illusory. Think with me. How many things did you intensely desire in the past that you don't even remember today? How many achievements that seemed essential became irrelevant over time? The sages used this contemplation daily to cut at the root the illusion that external objects can bring lasting happiness. The second pillar is true need analysis. Seneca developed a powerful technique of questioning each desire through 3 fundamental questions. First question, is this really necessary for my survival and basic well-being? Second question, does this desire come from genuine need or from social comparison and external pressure? Third question, what am I really seeking through this object and is there a more direct way to obtain it? Most of our desires aren't ours. They're implanted by society, media, social pressure, and the need for approval. When you start questioning the real origin of each desire, you discover that 90% of them simply disappear because you realize they weren't even yours to begin with. It's like discovering you were carrying a backpack full of stones that someone put on your back without you noticing. The third pillar is what Stoics call Premeditatio Malorum, or negative visualization. It's not about being pessimistic. It's about mentally anticipating the real consequences of obtaining what you desire. You want that dream job. Visualize the extra responsibilities, additional stress, less time with family. You want that bigger house. Imagine the high payments, more cleaning, more bills to pay. The technique works because our brain has a natural tendency to focus only on positive aspects of what we desire while completely ignoring costs and negative consequences. When you force your mind to consider the complete picture, many desires instantly lose their appeal because you realize the real price is greater than the imagined benefit. The fourth pillar is conscious substitution. Instead of simply trying to eliminate a desire, sages replaced it with something higher and more lasting. Marcus Aurelius replaced the desire for external recognition with the desire to fulfill his duty with excellence. Seneca replaced the desire for more wealth with the desire to use his current wealth to help others and develop virtues. The key is identifying the real emotional need behind each desire and finding healthier, more sustainable ways to satisfy it. If you desire an expensive car because you want to feel important, you can replace that desire with developing skills that actually make you a more valuable person. If you desire brand clothes because you want social approval, you can substitute this with cultivating genuine relationships based on who you really are. Now I'll show you exactly how to implement these techniques in your life through a practical week-by-week system that will completely transform your relationship with desires. In the first week, you'll focus exclusively on the first pillar. Choose 3 desires that are currently bothering you. It could be that new phone, that expensive trip, that person you're idealizing. Every day, dedicate 5 minutes to contemplate the impermanence of each of these desires. Visualize them deteriorating, losing their shine, becoming irrelevant over time. Write down your observations in a notebook and observe how your relationship with these desires changes throughout the week. In the second week, add the second pillar while maintaining the first week's practice. For each of the 3 desires, ask the 3 fundamental questions of true need analysis. Be brutally honest with yourself. Where does this desire really come from? Is it yours or was it implanted by external influences? What are you really seeking, and is there a more direct way to obtain it? Write down the answers and you'll be surprised by what you discover about yourself. In the third week, incorporate negative visualization while maintaining previous practices. For each desire, spend time visualizing not just the imagined benefits, but mainly the real costs and negative consequences of obtaining it. Be specific and detailed. How much will it cost in money, time, energy, and lost opportunities? What new problems might this create in your life? How might this affect your relationships and real priorities? In the fourth week, implement conscious substitution, completing the system. For each desire that still resists the first 3 techniques, identify the real emotional need behind it and find a higher, more lasting substitution. Instead of desiring external recognition, cultivate the desire for personal excellence. Instead of desiring more material possessions, cultivate the desire for meaningful experiences and deep relationships. From the 5th week on, you'll maintain all 4 practices but with reduced frequency. Instead of 5 minutes daily, dedicate 15 minutes 3 times a week to review and refine your system. The key to sustainability is what I call micro-expansion. Each week, add only 1 new desire to your work list. Never try to eliminate more than 5 desires simultaneously because this overloads your mental system. Also implement the never zero rule. Even on the busiest days, dedicate at least 2 minutes to some of the techniques. It's better to do little consistently than a lot sporadically. Your mind needs constant repetition to form new neural patterns that replace old compulsive desire habits. Use the intelligent reward system to maintain your motivation. Each week you complete all practices, reward yourself with something that really adds value to your life. It could be a book you wanted to read, a deep conversation with a dear friend, or simply quality time with yourself doing something that genuinely brings you peace. Remember that eliminating desires doesn't mean becoming a cold person without ambitions. It means becoming someone who acts from conscious choices instead of unconscious impulses. It means having mental energy available to focus on what really matters instead of wasting it on constant internal conflicts. Ancient sages discovered that when you stop being a slave to your desires, you become master of your choices. When you don't need anything external to feel complete, you can act in the world from a place of genuine abundance instead of disguised scarcity. Marcus Aurelius governed an empire not because he desired power, but because he accepted the duty that life placed before him. Seneca accumulated wealth not because he compulsively desired it, but because he developed valuable skills and applied them wisely. They understood that true freedom doesn't come from getting everything you want, but from not needing anything beyond what you already have to be happy. Think with me for a moment. What would your life be like if you were no longer controlled by desires that drain your energy and distort your priorities? What would it be like to wake up every day knowing exactly what's important and having complete mental energy to focus on it? What would it be like to make decisions based on wisdom and values instead of impulses and external pressures? This isn't an impossible fantasy. It's the natural result of consistently applying the techniques I just shared with you. Thousands of people throughout history have already proven this works. The only question remaining is whether you'll have the courage to implement this knowledge in your life or continue being another slave to your own desires. The path is before you. The tools are in your hands. Ancient sages have already mapped every step of the journey. Now it's up to you to decide whether you'll follow the path of the majority who live enslaved by their own impulses or join the minority who discover true freedom through complete mastery over their own desires. Comment below which of the 4 pillars caught your attention most and which you'll implement first in your life. I want to know how these millennial techniques will transform your reality. And if this content opened your mind to a new way of living, leave your like and subscribe to the channel because I have much more practical wisdom from the great masters to share with you.